For the first example, we have here sample problem number 1. Two forces act on a bolted A. Determine the resultant force. Okay, so from the figure, we can see that there are two forces. Forces P and Q. So P has a magnitude of 40 newtons, while Q has a magnitude of 60 newtons. So determine their resultant force. So we can solve this using graphical solution and trigonometric solution. So for graphical, so this is how you can solve it using graphical method. Okay, so say for example, we draw the figure again. So this is bolt A, where two forces. Again, for graphical method, you need to have your ruler, paper, protractor, so that you can sketch these forces onto the paper, and it should be drawn to scale. So say we assume 1 cm is to 10 newtons. Okay, so measure in your paper or graphic paper 4 cm at an angle of 20 degrees. So measure, say assuming this is 4 cm. So we now have here our, this is P equals 40 newtons. So dapat you need to measure first the angle 20 degrees, tapos sketch na dayon ang force nga 40 newtons. So this is 20 degrees tapos 40 newtons. Next is Q, which is 60. So i-measure na po using your protractor. Measure 45 degrees. So assuming ang 45 degrees is along this line. Assuming lang na siya. And then ato dayong i-sketch. Say 6 cm kay 60 newtons man siya. So 1, 2, 5, 6. Tapos this one is our Q, which is equal to 60 newtons. And then draw parallel lines. So parallel to P, say a parallel line that is parallel to P but drawn from Q. Another parallel line parallel to Q pero drawn from P. And then connect point A to the intersection of the two parallel lines. So gikan dere patanong dito. So this is now the resultant force, which is what value of magnitude. So kailangan nimo siya i-measure. So sukdo nimo siya, pila siya ka centimeters, pila ang iyahang, pila siya ka cm. So pila dayon iyang equivalent magnitude in newtons. And then after which, use your protractor. Oops. Tapos measure the angle from x-axis, so gikan dere to the resultant force. So this is now, so you will get the theta r, or this is the direction of the resultant force. So that's it for graphical method. So kunin siya for graphical. Okay. So if you want to try that, you can, and then compare it with solving the problem using trigonometric solution kung same na ba gid imong answer. So dapat accurate. So dapat accurate imong pag-measure, accurate pag-measure nimo sa imong forces, accurate pud ang pag-measure nimo sa imong angles using your protractor, so that you will get correct value of the resultant force. Okay, so let's try to solve this using trigonometric solution. Okay, so this is our figure. Okay, so this is bolt A, bolt at point A. Tapos, for trigonometric solution, we need to use cosine law and sine law so that we can determine the resultant and the direction of the resultant force. So, same rin pa procedure kanina. Kailangan ta mag-create of parallelogram. So, we draw parallel lines. So, mag-draw ta again. Parallel to P, pero drawn from Q. And then, parallel to Q, drawn from P. Tapos, the included diagonal this included diagonal is our resultant force. So this is the resultant force R. After that, mag-select ta where what triangle are we gonna analyze so that we can determine the resultant and the direction of the resultant. So you can choose between the upper and the lower triangles for analysis. Say we choose the lower triangle. So ato siyang i-draw using tip to tail method. Or kapihan lang nato siya. So okay, we have from point A, we have a force that is 40 newtons. Muna siya ato ang force P. From the tip of force P, ato dayong i-draw ang force Q. Kani siyang force Q, equivalent na siya ani diri nga side. So kani siya is also force Q. So ato siya isumpay. Okay, so from the tip padulong sa taas, kani siya ato ang force Q, which is equal to 60 newtons. Tapos ato dayon siyang i-connect from bolt A to the tip of Q so that we will get our resultant force R. So again, this is A. How about the angles na given sa problem? So, ang P daw, this force P, has an angle of 20 degrees. Kani siya, 20 degrees na siya from x-axis. How about P? So, as we can see from the figure, P na siya. Q is 45 gikan sa x. Pero kung dili na to siya i-base sa P, ang iyang angle from P is 25. So, kung ibutan na to na siya, kani from the axis, line of action, from the line of action of P to Q, kani daw siyang angle is 25 degrees. Okay. So, gikan diri, kung tanaw na to ha, we need to determine this angle. Okay, kani siya nga angle, the angle opposite the resultant force, kailangan nato na siya for cosine law. So, para mabalaan nato na siya, tanaw na to ang figure. So, from the figure, di ba straight line na siya? Say, axis na siya dira. Gikan din patulong dira, that is 180 degrees. Pero gikan diri patulong diri is 25, so kani siya, kani nga angle is 180 minus 25, or this is 155 degrees. Okay, so nanatay angle, kabaluta sa value sa tanan side. Kabaluta that this is 40, this is 60, this is R, which is unknown. Kabaluta nga this is 155. So we can now use cosine law. Cosine law. Then solve for the resultant force R. R squared is equal to this side squared, or that is P squared plus Q squared, so kanina side squared, minus 2PQ cosine of this angle, or cosine 155 degrees. So, mana siya. Medyo siya. So, okay. Next, ato siyang i-substitute na rin ang mga values. So, value sa P, value sa Q. So, i-substitute sa itong equation. So, we have R squared is equal to 40 squared plus 60 squared minus 2 times 40 times 60 cosine 155. Tapos, R is equal to the square root of this value. Kung lang siyang i-copy. O the square root of that value. So, nanan tayo value sa R. So, compute for R. So, use your calculator para compute na to si R. So, square root of 40 squared plus 60 squared minus 2 times 40 times 60 cosine 155. So, we have this value, 97.726. 97.726. This is newtons. Newtons man ito. So, dili kita dapat limtan ang unit. Kaya pag wala unit during the exam, that is wrong. Kaya nakabalon sana siya. 97.726 cats, dogs, no? So, you should always include the unit. Kung sa unit nga given sa problem, then mo na siya ang unit ang dapat na sa imuhang answer. So, kani karon is our answer. Okay. So, let's proceed. Kung nagali tayo resultant force, dapat kabaluta unsa iyang direction. So the direction is kaning angle from x-axis padulong sa imuhang resultant force. So kani siya is our theta r, or the direction of the resultant force. So how man nato pag-determine sa theta r? Kabalota, kaya ato siyang padakon ha para makita nato gayang figure. We know that from x-axis, this angle is 20 degrees. From this point, padulong dire, that is the unknown value. So, wala ta kabalo pila na siya. Pag mahibalaan nato na siya, say for example, ato siyang i-denote as alpha. Kung mahibalaan nato si alpha, we can add the value of 20 na din tay value of the direction. Okay. So, ato siyang i-denote diri as si kani siya nga angle is angle alpha. So, determine alpha using sine law. So, sine law. Sine law is side over the sine of its opposite angle. So, kung unsa may, tanaw na to ang atong figure, unsa may na ay value nga pwede na to magamit para ma-solve na to si alpha. We have P nga 40. Kabalota nga 40 ang magnitude. Sine sa iyang opposite angle is this one, which is, wala ta kabalo. Q is 60. So, kani siya, 60. Sine sa iyang opposite angle, muna siya tong unknown. Tapos, we have another side, which is R. Nakabalo na ta sa value over sine sa iyang opposite angle. Kabalo pa kita sa value sa angle. So, we can use that ato siyang i-equate aning kani siya so that we can solve for alpha. Okay, so Q over sine sa iyang opposite angle or sine alpha equal na siya sa R over sine sa opposite niya nga angle nga 155 degrees. Ito na to ang values. We know that Q is 60 sine alpha equals R nga 97726 over sine of 155. Or alpha, so pagka nga calculator, pwede na siya idiretso nga fraction 60 over sine alpha or sine x equals 97726 sine of 155. So you can write it this way if you have the same calculator as mine. So ina na siya. Then click shift and solve. Tapos equals. Then you will get a value of alpha which is 15.039. So this is 15.039 degrees. Tapos nanatay alpha. So we will know nga ang value dayon sa direction of the resultant force is alpha plus 20 degrees. Okay, from the figure, alpha plus 20 is the theta r, value of theta r, or the direction of the resultant force. So we have 15.039 plus 20 equals 35.039 degrees. So this is theta r. Or the final answer is the resultant force. The resultant force is equal to 97.726 Newton with a direction from positive x-axis nga 35.039 degrees. So, muna siya ito ang final answer. Sa diri nga side, if ever nga dili siya pwede diretso. So, imo siyang i-rearrange ang imuhang equation. So, kani siya, balhin mo dito sa taas, kani balhin mo sa taas, kani balhin mo sa ubos. So, nada yun kay may mo din siyang, then ang sign, ibalhin mo sa pika side na din kay alpha is equal to 60 sine 155 97 726 arc sine or sine of this value na din kay alpha. So, kung ibutang natin siya dire, si 60 sine 155 over 97.726. So, inano siya equals. So, kanang value. Tapos, shift sign or arc sign sa answer equals 15.039. If dili nimo siya madiretso, so imo siya imano-mano or isa-isahon nimo siya o compute and then arc sign para makuha nimo iyang angle alpha. Okay, so that's it for example 1.